trying to get Cliff Godwin in here for a while, and now probably more so than ever. These off seasons are busier than ever with everything that goes on with roster and coaching and everything. But Cliff, we're glad to have you here, no matter what the time, when the month. We appreciate it. How you doing, man?
Better late than never, right?
Yes, sir. That's what they say. And glad to have you here joining us today, and hope your summer is going well. And how has it gone? Camps, things like that. Did you get through the roster part and the coaching part, and now what are you up to at this point in the summer?
Well, you're always, working for sure. I mean, it's a 365-day-a-year job. Anytime you're managing people, I don't care what kind of organization, whether it's a baseball program or you're a CEO of a company, there's a lot of people that need you for sure. So I will say June is definitely pretty much like hell month for college baseball coaches, not just East Carolina. Trying to figure out exactly what your roster is going to be. We've talked about this, but bad system from a standpoint. The portal was open for the entire month of June, and then the draft's not until July 13th, middle of July. You send out scholarship papers on the 1st of July. So, we feel like we have a pretty good idea of what our roster is going to look like, the start of the semester. I think it's August 25th is when we start the fall semester, but it is a lot going on. I want to thank, of course, Coach Palumbo, Coach Knight, all of our new additions to our coaching staff that we've had, because it's been a busy summer for sure, but it's taken a lot of hard work behind the scenes.
We are pretty far removed from last season, but I do want to ask you about it. And we had an opportunity to talk to Dixon Williams and Parker Bird and some other players. And I say this to you every year, Coach, you bring in some awesome young men. They're great to talk to, great guys. I don't think they do anything to embarrass the program. I think you can trust them. But we enjoyed talking to those guys. And I asked them, how's Coach Godwin handling this season? Because you're used to success. You're used to winning. You wanted to win more, I'm sure, this year. It ends with the conference championship, which was awesome. But how did you handle the adversity? Because it was kind of unlike any other season, maybe one other season we've had here since you've been here, Coach.
Yeah, it was, when I say similar to 17, we had injuries. The thing that, you guys don't talk about a whole lot, I say you guys is the media, and that's not clumping everybody together, but I said this earlier today, if you go into the season and two guys that you believe that are going to have chances to pitch in your weekend rotation don't throw a pitch for you. Riley Johnson, who is the Gold Glove Award winner, going to be back, preseason, first team all conference, and I don't know how many games he played, but he really didn't play consistently until the postseason. Those guys are not going to be who you thought they were in any capacity. I don't think anybody would have said, hey, well, you guys are going to win the conference without those three. And then you got Braxton Trammell goes down in the middle of the season. But you guys don't get a chance to talk about it because I don't talk about it. Right. Because you don't have any chance to win whatsoever if the head coach is talking about the woe is me, the injuries. And I don't let the guys talk about it. It's next man up. Yeah. And that gave us the ability to be able to win at the end of the season. Was it fun? No. I mean, and look, you guys got to do your job. And I'm not on social media. I don't get to read all the stuff you guys say, but I can tell you this, nobody wears it harder than our coaching staff, our players, because as high of the expectations the fans have or the media, the players and the coaches have higher expectations. So it sucked. There was nothing fun about it, but I can tell you what, man, it was really fun the last 2 weeks. And as the Bible says, endurance, perseverance, those things, when you go through, tough times, it makes you a better person on the backside if you can get through it.
That conference championship led to a Conway, South Carolina regional where the Pirates knocked off the mighty Florida Gators twice and then lost two good baseball games to a very good Coastal Carolina team. And since this is the first time we've talked since the season ended, I know this is, we've hashed and rehashed this thing, but I want to get your perspective on it. One thing that I was kind of surprised, but not really surprised, because you keep a cool head, but how did you keep your cool with everything going on with the Florida coach talking to your players? Because I got to imagine out of all the things that could hurt Cliff Godwin, an opposing coach talking to his players has to be near the top of the list.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, I was surprised you guys beat Florida as bad as you did 2 times when you started in on that.
No, that didn't surprise me at all, Coach.
Thanks, Clip. Appreciate it. Number one, it was a little bit surreal for me because all the coaches, for the most part, were already in our dugout on the third base side. I didn't know who Kevin O'Sullivan was talking to. I have never seen Heath Blackman get as emotional and as loud as he got. So I knew when he was coming through there, and he was next to Parker Bird and Kevin Youngs and our athletic trainer, Hunter Martin. I knew something was going on, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I had seen Kevin O'Sullivan be very animated with the associate AD at Coastal, Coach Scaff, the grounds guys. There was a lot of things going on. So I kept a cool head because I really didn't know what was going on. And then by the time that, I'm out of the dugout, I could tell that he had lost all sense of reality, and I was just trying to diffuse the situation. So trying to win a baseball game. And so it worked out well for us. We talk about this in our program a lot. Let your play do the talking. If the other opposing team's talking trash, then shut your mouth and just beat them, and then they can't say anything to you. So that was really what we focused on.
And 2 awesome wins against the Florida Gators. And again, man, that 2 different games against Coastal. The first one was back and forth until Coastal put together some runs late in the game. And then Sunday, it was like, who's going to scratch one across first? Just a great pitcher's duel in that one. But 2 really good baseball games. I know you wanted them to go a different way, but man, we have some great atmospheres here. That was a fantastic road atmosphere you guys played in, right?
Definitely in the first game for sure. In the winner's bracket game, I thought the place was electric. We had a good fan base there, and of course, Coastal was packed out. I have not played in their venue since probably I was a player, which obviously they have a new stadium now. They did a really good job hosting the regional. They had a really, really good team. Obviously they did. They finished second in the country. But I knew we were going to have our hands full, but I thought our guys really represented our baseball program at a high level. And, you're a blue pit away from pushing the game to Monday and playing in that if necessary game.
Cliff Godwin joining us. Now we can get to what happened this offseason. Let's start with the coaches because we got some questions already coming in about that. Joel asking what we can expect from the new hitting coach. Can you kind of introduce us to him, Coach Godwin?
What can you expect from the new hitting coach? Number one, I threw a lot of Hail Marys in high school. Most of them were intercepted by the opposing team. And to get Jake Gotro to come to Greenville, North Carolina is a Hail Mary. And we're very blessed to have him be a part of our baseball program. And in this very transactional world that I feel like the media pushes as a positive, not necessarily you, Clip, but other people, the reason he's here is because the relationship that him and I have had for over 15 years. He was an assistant coach at Tulane when he got done playing professional baseball. When I was an assistant at UCF, he was at Tulane up until, I think, 2014. And then got into, he was an agent with Scott Boras Corporation for a few years. And, of course, our paths crossed again there while I was at Ole Miss. And, we just kept in contact. And his philosophies on hitting very mirror mine a whole lot. I mean, he's put together some of the best offenses in the country at Mississippi State over the past couple of years. You're talking about a guy that was national assistant coach in 2019. They won a national championship in 21. I think they finished third in the league in offense this year. So it's a way for me to be able to pull back a little bit and let him take the reins over. I'll still be coaching third base, but Goat will be able to be in the dugout, talk to the hitters. And like I said, we have competed against one another, and the fact that he still likes me and we've competed against one another tells you all we need to know about what kind of person he is.
Saw you pretty briefly, but go into the dugout and not coach third for a while. I mean, you just got a different perspective there. What was that about?
Well, we had a very young team, and there were some nerves going on, and I felt like I needed to go in the dugout for a little bit. And at the time, and it's on me, but I didn't know the rule as far as the rules changed so much. I mean, we can pass out money, but we can't let Bryant Packard coach first base if he's a graduate manager.
The outlaw, Bryant Packard, illegally coaching first.
Yeah. Well, and and no disrespect to Henry, but we just had not prepared Henry to go over to first base because he had always been in the dugout talking to the hitters, and I felt like that was a good move for our team at the time. And then whenever it was, I don't know how many games they went through, I felt like I needed to go back to third base because I had a better feel of and a pulse for the guys that we needed to play and just the personnel and stuff, and it worked out well for us.
Speaking of Pack, he is the Director of Player Development, and Franny is now the Director of Operations. So I love how we see guys kind of fill up their time at ECU, and you've had a number of them join you in the dugout and help with the team. But we got some full-time Pirates now, Bryant Packard and Thomas Francisco. That's got to make you feel good as a coach, right? But also coaching these players that you have now. That's huge.
For sure. I mean, look, our players get to see two guys that have done it at the highest level when it comes to playing really, really high-level baseball at East Carolina. Both play professional baseball. Both are super passionate about our program. Both are super loyal to me. They had always told me they wanted to get into college coaching, and I mentioned this earlier, which don't ask me why this rule is, but you can't have graduate assistant coaches in baseball like you can football or other sports, but you can have graduate managers. So they were doing a lot of work behind the scenes that people just didn't know about. And it's a very selfless job. The money is awful. As I told Franny and Pack early in their playing careers, say if you want to coach in college, you got to grind financially early, and both those guys understood that. Sometimes it doesn't work out as well as it did for them when you have some positions open up.
Right.
Franny was able to slide into the Director of Baseball Operations slot. Pack was able to go into the Director of Player Development spot when Heath Blackman, got the assistant coaching job at App State as the pitching coach. So everything kind of worked together, and those guys are super fired up. And, two guys that, like I said, man, they're not going to let ECU baseball fail.
And don't want to overlook, the returners, the holding on to Jeff Palumbo and Austin Knight. I don't think that can be overstated, Coach, how important that is to have Coach Palumbo back and Coach Knight back once again as the pitching coach.
Anytime you can have stability in those two, of course, Jeff's been with me since day one. Coach Knight's going into, I can't remember, 6th or 7th season. And I guess it would have been year 3 this year, so year 4 as the full-time pitching coach. 22 was his first year. I would say that, in 22, we had kind of a similar pitching staff from a standpoint, really didn't have any starting pitching. We had to kind of Houdini it a little bit, and to have been his first year as the pitching coach, that was hard. And of course, having all the injuries we had this year and all the youth that we had on the mound, it made it very difficult to manage as well this year. But those guys are tremendous at what they do. They do it at the highest level. They have a ton of integrity. They don't text players that are not in the portal like some other coaches do, and that means the world to me, and they represent our baseball program in a very, very first-class manner.
Cliff Godwin joining us. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the roster, some old faces, some newcomers, and also some questions from you as well. It's a great question here from Jamie. Cliff Godwin, what show do you like better? Name redacted. That's what we call Steve and I go now. Or Pirate Radio Live, or neither, since it's all media.
I don't really have an opinion.
Okay.
Everybody's good to me, so the media, for the most part, is kind to me, which I appreciate, and I'm normally kind to them as long as they don't ask stupid questions. So, and I think Clip would agree with that.
How did Jarrett do a good job year 1? He was kind of the one.
I would say I don't remember him, so
which is a good
that's
thing.
a good thing.
Yep.
All
right.
And I would say it was probably a tougher media year for working with me than normal, because, like you said, it was rocky for sure. But no, I thought he did a good job.
And while we're on, I guess you could count this as a negative, but was it 2 ejections this year?
I don't know. I know I got. You'll laugh at this. When we played like unbelievably good on that Thursday at South Florida. Norby didn't even pitch that weekend, so played great. We actually had shrunk the roster down to, we only had 29 players on the travel roster when you can have 30, and really Braxton was not available, so you're down to 28. Parker Bird being 28, and I was like, man, this is awesome. Dugout was awesome. And then Friday we played like the Bad News Bears, and I got thrown out. Arguing balls and strikes, I don't remember, like 6th, 7th inning. We're down 8-0, and I come out of the dugout to like get my money's worth, and I get about 10 yards from the guy, and I just, in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting suspended for this butt kicking. So I just turn around, go back in the dugout, and grab my stuff. So I just went on the bus, Clip. So you should be proud of me.
This man, he's maturing, folks. That's hilarious. That's caught you mid stride.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to the bus.
All right. Well, speaking of Norby, I want to talk about returners, but first, guys that will no longer be a part of the Pirate team, and you talk about guys going through adversity and injuries. Jake Hunter and Riley Johnson, 2 all-time Pirates there. We didn't even know if Jake Hunter would pitch again for ECU, I guess, and Riley, we didn't know day to day if he'd be able to get out there. But man, I know you're proud of those 2 guys.
For sure, starting with Jake, definitely like a lot of us, like anxiety, stress. Jake had surgery, I think it was June 1st last summer. And if you'd have told me that he was going to be ready opening weekend, I probably would have bet every dollar I had against that, just because we had never had anybody to have the brace, which the recovery is a little bit quicker. But normally you have a hiccup in there, when you're coming back from, Tommy John surgery, where you're just delayed a week or 2 through the throwing progression. But, man, he never missed a beat, and he was awesome. And it was just so fitting for him to throw the last 4 innings again, that Florida game, to get us to the championship game against Coastal. Riley, obviously very unfortunate that body is just breaking down on him, and we didn't know when he could play. I mean, you think about he's stretching on deck at UNC Wilmington. He comes back and he's stretching on deck and like pulls his hamstring stretching on deck. I'm like, how did you do that? I can't even do that. And like, I feel like I pull a muscle if I jog sometimes, and you're doing it stretching, and you're 23 years old. But man, how tough he played down the stretch. And, I go back to that first conference tournament game, the catches that he made, and the first inning, he's like diving to the wall, getting rolled up like a ball, and gets up and plays all week, and then plays at Coastal, plays unbelievably. And, even before the championship game, he kind of tweaked his quad, pulled his quad in the second Florida game. And our athletic trainer was like, hey, look, man, I don't think he's going to go in this game. So I'd actually written out a lineup without Riley Johnson in it. And Riley comes by me and goes, I probably got 3 innings, so I figure I better start the game because I feel decent right now. And, he plays all 9 innings in that game. So definitely 2 Warriors for sure.
Jamie asking, what kind of players are the Braves getting with Dixon Williams and the Cardinals getting with Ethan Young? A couple of Pirates drafted for you, Coach.
Yeah, I think 2 guys that for sure their best days are probably in front of them. I think, Dixon's athletic ability, he can play all over the field, of course. He's got power in the bat. He, walks and gets hit by pitches more and he strikes out. Left-handed bat, can run, can do a lot of things. I think, they're really going to be happy with Dixon. Of course, tremendous person, great human being. Was really proud of Dixon, the way he took on a leadership role in a very high level the last 2 weeks. I mean, he really removed himself from the way he was performing individually, and it didn't matter if he struck out or he got out. He was like talking to the hitters in the dugout in a very calm way, which I thought really helped our position player group play to the best of their ability the last couple weeks. I thought moving Braden Burst into the infield as well helped with that, and I mean, they just played awesome, the infield specifically. Ethan, a guy that has not been pitching that long at this level. When I say that, I mean, he, went to junior college, of course, got better in our program. Coach Knight and him worked really hard together to refine his skills. He really didn't have a great fall for us and was really one of the, main pieces. I mean, you can call him a closer, but we would extend him and he would go 3, 4, 5 innings at times out of that bullpen with really, really high-end stuff. So I think that probably helped his draft status as well, because who knows, the Cardinals might think he can start.
Yeah. Cliff, it should be, I guess, the norm, you would think, for guys to return, but it's almost not these days. And me sitting here for 3 hours every day, I talk about transfers in all sports. So I'm numb to it at this point.
I'm glad you are.
I'm saying that because I know you aren't, and maybe I shouldn't be.
I'm more numb to it today than I was 3 years ago.
Right. My point is, I have focused more. I'm ecstatic at the returners this team has.
You should be.
More so than thinking about the guys that left, because Norby and Irby and Wallace and Burris, and I can go on. That's a hell of a haul to bring back in 2025. I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality.
Braxton Trammell, Sean Jenkins, Walker Barron. And there's a lot of guys on our team. I was telling somebody earlier today, Brendan Tolick, nobody really knows who he is. Ron Towers, nobody really knows who he is.
Will we know who they are next season?
Yeah,
you think?
That's right. You'll know who they are next season.
Okay.
I mean, Brett for sure will be ready day one. I think Ron Towers should be if everything goes well, because he had his surgery about 10 days earlier than Jake Hunter. So same thing with the brace. So if he goes through rehab, then he'll be ready for game one as well. And then you got guys like Dawson Neal and J.D. Little, two lefties that were out all last year. They had Tommy John surgery. They'll be back. So guys that you don't even know about that were within our program as well, and others that I'm not mentioning. AP, getting AP back as well. And most of those guys didn't have their hand out for money. They just want to come back and work their tail off and be great players and help us win a lot of games.
Coach, I know you like, if you can, recruiting North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina. That's awesome. But to have a Snow Hill guy, a Green Central guy, I mean, how cool is that as a Ram yourself?
It's really cool. Braden, for everybody that's hearing this for the first time, has never been given anything from Coach Godwin because of where he's from. I actually told him not to come to East Carolina, which I must have been an idiot. I told him his locker was going to be in the pitching indoor, and I'm just super proud for him because he had to earn everything. I mean, he was not on scholarship. He did not get any money last year. And I say this because I want everybody publicly to hear it. We're recruiting a player this summer, and he's like, well, Coach, one school's offered me $50,000, one's offered $100,000, and I know when you get paid more money, that gives you more opportunity to play. And I said, well, not here it doesn't, buddy. I said, because we had 3 walk-on players on the field against the University of Florida and kicked their tail. So we're going to put the best 9 guys on the field, whether they're on scholarship or not. And I'm very, very happy to say that Braden Burris is on a full ride now, and so is Jack Herron. Big John Collins is no longer in the program because 6 years you got to go do something else. So, but loved Big John as well.
That's all. And this was off the air. This was Brian Bailey talking to Palumbo right before the start of the season, and I can share it now. It's not a big deal or anything, but he said during a break, he was like, Brian, this Burris guy, we got to find a spot for him somewhere. He's got to play. You're going to love this kid. He's just, and it intrigued me, and we kind of saw it from day one. He got out there and just never stopped hitting, never stopped playing hard in the field. It was fun to see.
Well, you do forget about, so he played good in game 1. We played doubleheader. Then he struck out 4 times in game 2. So
see, I don't look at the negative like you do,
and
Coach.
Then we had to sit him down for a little bit and let him start swinging like he should swing and try to hit home runs. And the rest is history.
But again, some great names coming back. How, as a baseball player, have you ever been in the zone that Austin Irby was in late in the year? Because it was a beach ball for him up there.
Not late in the year like that. I had like 1 week of my life, maybe 10 days in college, where I think I hit 6 home runs in 6 games, where it felt like everything looked like a beach ball. But I played baseball for a long time, and that was for 1 week.
You got your 1 weekend.
That's right.
Irby had it at the most important time of the season, and just couldn't get out there late. It was awesome.
He, really honed in on his processes that he needed to do day to day consistently, and it started well before the last 2 weeks. And then you put that with a very competitive spirit that he has, and he wants to win, and he competed his tail off, and not just swinging the bat. I mean, he played great defense for us in the postseason as well.
All right, we'll get to some of the. Can you speak on any of the newcomers, Coach? Anybody your Pirate Nation will be excited about to see?
Hey, they can watch them in the fall practice. I mean, I can speak on them, but at the end of the day, like, we think they're good. We recruited them, so we're very excited. On paper, we're really, really good, but guess what? That'll get you nothing. So we got a lot of work to do between now and February.
Coach, So any challenges with the new rules, roster spots, and also revenue sharing? Do you know how that affects the baseball team? Your baseball team?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges that we're not going to sit up here and talk about for 3 hours. So, but we're in a really good spot. We have 25 full rides. You can have 34 per the NCAA rules, which some baseball programs at a high level do have. I will say that the donors that have stepped up and the rev share, we're in a really, really good spot.
Good to hear. Good to hear. All right. Other questions. Jamie says, Coach, you've coached at Notre Dame and LSU, among others. Did you watch football at those places, and were those the best football environments you've been to?
Well, of course, you watch football at those places. Most of the time, you had recruits coming in for football games. I will say Notre Dame is really, really tradition-based. It's a great environment. It's like no other from just the standpoint of the tradition. I mean, as Clip knows, growing up, you're watching NBC. I didn't even know they were good in baseball when Coach Mack called me and said, hey, do you want to be an assistant coach in a top 25 baseball program? I just knew about their football program. And then you go from there and you go to LSU. I actually went to the national championship game in, I guess it would have been the 2007 season that they won it. And I mean, Tiger Stadium at night is pretty electric. It's unbelievable.
I always say this. My mom taught in Craven County for years, James W. Smith Elementary School, her whole life, her whole career. But Lee Beckton, do you remember that name? From West Craven, went to play running back at Notre Dame.
Yep.
And like 10-year-old me thought that was the coolest thing in the world, that a guy from down the road went to Notre Dame. 10-year-old Cliff Brock would think a Conley kid getting drafted by the Braves, Dixon Williams, would be the new coolest thing in the world. But yeah, I always have that memory of Notre Dame football back in the day. Curtis wants to know about the non-conference schedule. Anything you can tell us about that? Any tidbits you can float out there?
Well, we will always play as long as Coach Forbes is the head coach at North Carolina and I'm the head coach at East Carolina. The second weekend, we play Carolina a 3-game series. 1 game in Greenville, 1 game in Chapel Hill, 1 game at the AAA Park in Durham. So we don't have all the details mapped out for that yet, but we'll do that. We'll play NC State home and home midweek, UNC Wilmington home and home midweek, of course, Campbell. We're supposed to play Duke home and home, and there's been a coaching change, so I'm assuming that is going to be okay, but we'll get that finalized. And then we're also doing a return trip to Coastal for the 3-game series that when they came to East Carolina this year, amongst others, but those are the highlights.
I like that series a lot, especially when Ethan Norby's striking out everybody. But any other teams, I don't know if you talk about it on the record, but like regional teams you would like to get for a home and home? Anybody out there you haven't played you'd like to?
You always are looking. It's become harder with the conference expansion from the standpoint of, some conferences like the ACC, I think they start playing the 4th weekend.
Right.
So there's a very limited amount of weekends that you can play some non-conference opponents. How crazy is this, though? But I think in 2027, I don't think Carolina plays State or Duke in conference. And it's just a bad system. Like, hey, you're going to travel to California, but you're not going to play the team that's 8 miles down the road. And we're all worried financially about the budgets, it seems like, in college athletics. But we'll fly across the country to play a baseball game.
One day, if Cliff Godwin hasn't lost his mind by then, he'll get involved in administration and fix all this crap, and we'll be good to go.
I don't know about that, Cliff. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about that.
Johnny Robertson says, thank you, Coach, for giving us a consistent winner. The Pirates are the only team in the nation to have a regular season and or conference title and play in a regional in each of the last 7 seasons. It's a hell of a stat. He says that's much more difficult to accomplish than many fans realize. At least one Pirate on the first-team all-conference team in each of the last 10 seasons. The longest streak other than that is 3 by South Florida. So Johnny Stats with some good stats today.
Johnny, I appreciate you saying that, and I would tell everybody to have a consistent winning product in college athletics right now is harder than it's ever been. And Clip would agree with that because just the portal and the roster turnover. And I'm not saying that just for us, but since 2018, we're the 4th winningest program in the entire country. Last year, before this past season, we were 3rd in the country. It was, I think, Tennessee, Arkansas, and us. So I think Oregon State made a slid in there to be in the 3rd spot after this season. But super proud of what our coaches, our players, our administration, our fans have done since specifically 2018. We have rolled at a very high level.
Joel, I'm glad you brought this up. I got a little emotional seeing this in Winterville, North Carolina when it happened in Florida, I believe. But you doing the interview with Coach Gary Overton after you passed him for all-time wins, that had to be a really cool moment for you and for Coach O as well.
It was. And, really, when you're coaching, you don't think about those things a whole lot. And I knew I was getting close. I just didn't know exactly, when it would happen, if it would happen last year, the way things were going.
I mean, you should have had it by April, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course.
Kidding, Coach.
But Coach O gave me an opportunity to come to East Carolina when I probably didn't to have him doing the radio and us to be standing there, it was a very, very cool moment.
What a great man, Dr. Gary Overton. All right, I think we've hit on about it all. Johnny pointing out Jack Herring having a great season, kind of following all the summer guys. Everything gone pretty good like you want to this summer?
Yeah, everybody's done a good job of playing summer ball. Of course, some of our guys play in the summer, and then you got guys like Walker Barron and Braden Burris and Sean Jenkins. Braxton was still recovering from injury. Boucher's back. Those guys are here this summer working out with our strength coach, with the incomers. And it allows the incomers to have some older players around to get them acclimated to our culture. So very cool. But the guys that are playing summer ball have done a good job.
And of course,
Whitaker's having a good past couple weeks. He's killing it the past 2 weeks in the Coastal Plain League.
And Ethan wearing the USA across the chest was awesome. You've had several guys. You yourself have been there, but several guys have played for that team.
Yeah, since 2018, we've had a player on that team every year except last summer.
Man, that's awesome. Awesome stuff. Cliff, appreciate you joining us today, man. What's the rest of your summer look like?
Getting the fall calendar organized, getting all of our staff situated, finishing the guys up with summer school. We got camps going on right now, Little League camp going on, last one of the summer. And then I'll take a little vacation that first week of August, thank God. And then the fall semester will be here before you know it.
Right back at it. Purple Gold World Series will be going on before we know it. So appreciate you joining us, man. Always enjoy it. And we'll talk to you again down the road.
Thank you, guys.
Cliff Godwin joining us today on Pirate Radio Live.